Starting out in the Warhammer hobby can be incredibly difficult and confusing. Looking online for advice is a minefield of information and people telling you 100 different things you need. So today, I'm going to tell you what I believe are the essential tools you need to be able to start painting Warhammer and how to not break the bank. The first thing you'll need is a miniature to paint. What mini you want is pretty much an open-ended question. The best advice I can give is to find something you like the look of. Keep it simple with a standard troop choice rather than an expensive hero model, but having something you like is probably the most important thing. If you want to collect Space Marines or Tyranids, that's great. The Introductory Starter Set is a cheap way to get into the hobby and contains most of the things I'm going to say you need to get started. Brushes. It's hard to paint without a paintbrush. A cheap set from Amazon or your local craft store will work great for starting out. Don't worry about spending a lot of money on expensive brushes. It's better to learn the basics with just a few cheap paintbrushes and move up in quality over time. But honestly, half my painting is still done with cheap synthetic brushes. I love my Kolinsky Sable brushes and they are fantastic, but I still always keep some synthetics close by, and when they get worn out, I just throw them away and buy another cheap set. I've made several videos testing different cheap sets, and I can honestly say there isn't a lot of difference between them. Any set that has a selection of sizes will be fine. I know the Introductory Starter Set comes with one brush in it, but you will need more, so everyone should be picking up some brushes. That one in the set will be pretty beaten up by the time you've painted all of the models, and having a selection of different sizes is always better than trying to use the same brush for base coats and fine highlights. Snippers. You need to get the miniature off the sprue somehow. Some kits now are coming with twist-off minis like the ones in the Age of Sigmar introductory set, but a lot will still need snipping off, so a set of snippers is essential. The 40k introductory set comes with a set of snippers, and these will do the job well enough for a while. I use an older set of GW snippers that I've had for years and work fine still. Some of the cheaper sets will get blunt after a while, and you really don't want to be removing models from a sprue with blunt snips, or you will damage the parts. But to start out, any set of snippers will do. You can easily buy a new pair once you have some more experience, and it's time to replace the old ones. Paints. Besides the model, this is probably the thing you need the most to start painting your miniatures. Once again, if you have the introductory set, you're good to go, as that comes with some paints, and I've made videos showing how to paint the Tyranids and Space Marines using just those paints. If you're wanting to paint popular factions like Space Marines, there are sets out there that contain the colours you need and even a few models. These are great for people wanting to get into the hobby, but if you're wanting to paint something that doesn't have a dedicated paint set, or come up with your own paint schemes, it's a good idea to pick up a few paints, 4 or 5 colours that you'll want to use on your model. A white and a black for mixing shade and highlight colours, and if you can, a shade paint, something like Nuln Oil or Agrax Earthshade, depending on the colours you want for your models. As for brands, there are so many out there. I've made videos about why I often use Citadel, but I've also used Army Painter recently, who make some great sets for new painters. It's a matter of what colours you like the look of and what's available in your area and budget. Glue. A lot of models are now push fit, so the need for glue isn't as urgent as it was in the past, but having some glue on hand is always useful. It will be used for sticking together any non-push fit models, as well as fixing up any breaks. A lot of people don't like push fit minis and chop off the connection pins and glue the model together anyway, so it's always useful to have some on standby. For plastic models, plastic glue is best. It melts the plastic ever so slightly, so when it dries you have a really tight bond that's really hard to break. Most companies have their own brand of glue. I often use a Citadel plastic glue because it's easily available. A lot of people swear by Tamiya Extra Thin, which has a nice brush application, but what glue you want is a personal choice. For metal or resin minis, you have to use super glue, as plastic glue won't work on them. Avoid PVA glue on models, it takes far too long to dry, although it is great for sticking the grass onto the base. A palette. You will need a palette. This is an essential tool for thinning your paints, making sure you aren't overloading your brush, and also for mixing your paints. Almost anything can work as a palette. When I first started painting, I used an old plate. A tile sample works really well as well. Games Workshop sell these palette pads, which are a little bit expensive for what they are, but if you don't have any spare plates lying around, they make for a quick and easy palette. A wet palette can also be a good option. It will help prevent your paints from drying out too quickly, and many companies make them, such as the Army Painter one I use, or you can easily make your own. However, a wet palette isn't essential. In fact, if you're just starting out, they can lead to over-thinning your paints, and they aren't designed for contrast paints or shade. So for your first few models, maybe think about just using something cheap and upgrading later on. A water pot, something to keep water in so you can wash out your brushes. I've been using a GW paint pot to avoid confusion between my paint water and my cup of tea, but there is no need for a special water pot. Any cup or mug is fine, just make sure you know which one is for water and which one's for tea. And finally, some paper towel. It's just something to dry your brushes after washing them. Some kitchen roll is great as it stays together well, and if needed it's on hand for doing some dry brushing, but pretty much any type of towel will do. If you're enjoying the video, please press like. If you want more videos, press the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. If you would like to support the channel and become a member, please press the join button down below. Those are the key things any painter needs. There are a few other things that are nice to have, but they aren't essential for beginners, but if you can pick them up, they are an added bonus. Primer. A lot of people will say that primer is essential, and it's probably the most important of the extra items. You can prime by painting on a few layers of a base coat. This is how we used to prime models back in the 90s. Just make sure each layer is dry before applying the next until you have a solid coat. But a proper primer will make the job quicker and give a better end result. You can use a primer from a rattle can. It's the quickest and easiest way to prime a load of mini. Just make sure you do this outside, as the propellant in the can is pretty nasty if you breathe it in. There is also paint-on primer. I use this stuff from Vallejo, which can be applied easily with a brush and gives a really nice primer coat to work from. It can also be used by an airbrush, but if you're just beginning your miniature painting journey, I would recommend waiting to get an airbrush, so just use a traditional brush for now. A craft knife. These are great for getting the remaining bits of sprue off of a model or cleaning up any mould lines. If you move on from the plastic to resin miniatures, a good hobby knife becomes an essential tool, but if you really want crisp looking Space Marines, a craft knife will help out. They are available in lots of places and often come with a selection of blades as well. Be careful when using one, as they are very sharp, and if you're a younger child, maybe ask an adult to use it for you. The introductory set comes with this mould line remover tool. These are fine for removing mould lines, but if you have stubs of sprue left or there are some hard to reach mould lines, they really won't do the job, so getting a good hobby knife is a nice bonus. A painting handle. It's perfectly fine to hold the mini by the base while you're painting. A painting handle, however, does make it a little bit more comfortable and helps reduce the risk of touching the mini and rubbing off paint before it's dried. GW have their own line of painting handles, which are fine, but there are also lots of other brands out there, so see what you like and pick one up if you want. A mini drill. A little drill is great for drilling out the barrels of guns. It really isn't needed when you're starting out. A small spot of black paint will give the impression of a hole if you really need it. But it's nice to be able to drill out the barrels of your guns when you need to, especially on your character models. They're simple to use. Simply pick what drill bit you want and twist the drill with the palm of your hand to drill. Lots of companies have them. I use an old GW one, but they are easily available if you want to give your models that extra little bit of detail. And that's my list. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any hobby tools you think are essential for beginners, and also let me know if you're just starting out on your mini painting journey. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and happy painting!